All right.
Ryan, you there?
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, hey, is the delay still there?
Yeah, but that's okay. We'll go ahead.
All right.
It's one of those things, man. Life's not perfect.
That's right.
You roll the punches here. Well, tell us about yourself, Ryan. We want to get into the contents of your book called Ditching. Firsthand is the title of it, Ditching Secondhand Religion for a Faith of Your Own. But tell our listeners what they need to know about you and your brother.
So Josh and I grew up in church. Our dad's a pastor in Houston. His name's Kerry Shook. It's a large church, and growing up, we always knew all the right answers. We did all the right things. But when we got into high school, we started to realize that our faith wasn't working for us, and it wasn't working because it had been borrowed from our friends and our family and our parents. We kind of reached this point where we said, we're doing all the right things, but we still feel empty. We still feel like there's an emptiness in our souls, and we thought Christianity was supposed to fill it, but we still feel empty. And so there's a lot of reasons for that, but that's kind of why we wrote the book, Firsthand, Ditching Secondhand Religion for a Faith of Your Own, because it's all about helping our generation and others move from secondhand knowledge of God to real firsthand relationship with Him. So that's why I wrote the book, and that's what it's about.
Now, you said Easton. What town is, or what state is that in?
Houston, Texas.
Oh, in Texas. Okay, gotcha. So, there's an old saying that God doesn't have any grandchildren. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's what you and your brother came to the realization, that you may have been raised in the church, your dad may be a pastor, or your other family members are Christian, but unless you personally act on your faith yourself, then it's to no avail.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely has to be a first-hand relationship. I think that's one of the things that our generation often misses, is that they think they can get by with the religion or just rules of what they grew up with. And the truth is, that's one of the reasons why so many young people today leave the church, we believe, is because they don't really have a faith that's their own. And that's why we wrote the book, is to help our generation and to help parents who might have a child who's growing up and they're not sure, is this child really, does he really have a first-hand relationship with Christ? And one of the big things for me was I started to substitute that relationship with Christ for a checklist. I read my Bible, check. I went to Bible study, check. And so those things are good disciplines, but when you substitute rules for relationship, you lose the joy in that relationship, and it starts to turn into just a list. And that's one of the things, and that's one of the chapters in our book, is it talking about how do you move just from checklist Christianity to a real vibrant relationship.
Ryan, you're talking to a lot of Christian parents who are listening right now, and you all are very real in the book about the fact that you guys literally, obviously were raised in a good, solid Christian home, but you guys took off and really almost just started going totally the opposite way into the world. I mean, you guys were not, perfect at all, as any of us are. But tell us about that. You guys really went off
deep end, John.
Deep end.
Right, yeah. When we were in high school, and then especially our freshman year of college, Josh and I, we just kind of decided, hey, the church isn't working for us, and we just kind of walked away, and we said, we're going to look for other sources to fill our emptiness. So, we tried partying and alcohol and other things, and we found that we were left even more empty than before. And I think that is a realization that a lot of people today find themselves in, is, I've tried all these other things, and I still feel so broken, so empty. And that's one of the things that we talk about in the book, is that really when you're at the end of your rope, that's actually a good place to be. We often think of emptiness as a bad thing, but the truth is that it's that emptiness that drives us back to God. And, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, it often happens over and over again. It's a process. And really, I think some mature Christians have told me that really it's a daily process, and it's falling to your knees every day and saying, God, I'm broken and I need you, and how can you use me, because I'm just looking to you for hope, and no longer can I, focus on myself to find fulfillment.
Talking to Ryan Shook, and his book he wrote with his brother Josh is called Firsthand, Ditching Secondhand Religion for a Faith of Your Own. You can check it out at firsthandbook.com to read more about it. Firsthand
is now in the conference.
Who's now in the conference?
I want to say Josh probably joined.
Hey, Josh, are you there?
It's Troy Joshua.
Hey, Troy, we're on a conference right now, so sorry. I'll
okay.
Later.
That's all right.
Oh, okay. All right. I had one scheduled for 10:30. I was trying to get in early.
Yeah, you're on live national radio, brother.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. Maybe the Lord sent you
conference.
to tell us something.
That's right.
I don't know.
Well,
I gotta say that was pretty strange, right there.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
was
What was the next question?
So that wasn't a collection agency looking for you, though, was it, Ryan? I think.
Yeah, they're after me.
Hey, your brother, you and Josh, Ryan and Josh Shook. You mentioned your brother. Are you guys? What's the age difference?
So Josh and I are both really close in age. Josh is about a year younger than me, and we were both pretty young in our 20s.
That's pretty interesting to me, though, that your dad's a pastor, and you go through this experience together of kind of turning your back on your faith, and then coming back to your Christian heritage or your Christian faith, realizing your need for Christ, and as you say, more than religion, it's a relationship. How did that work? I mean, did you guys convince yourselves together, talking? Hey, and how did that affect your parents?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things in our relationship was trying to work through this idea of honesty and authenticity. I think it was really Josh who kind of sparked the conversation in high school. We were both dealing with depression and peer pressure and all those things a lot of students go through in high school, and it's painful, and there's things that are really tough about life, and I think that it's easy for families to, come home at the end of a long work day or the end of a long school day and say, hey, how's work? Good. How was school? Good. And you kind of go your separate ways, and I think, we're all victims of that, and we're all, guilty of that, and so Josh ultimately came to this point where he said, look, I want to be honest about what I'm going through. I can't just hold it in anymore. It's too painful for me to hold in. And so, he started to talk to my dad and my parents and said, hey, here's what I'm going through, and I just want to be honest. And then he challenged me and my parents especially, saying, Mom and Dad, you guys don't tell us what's going on in your life, but you want us to tell you what's going on in ours. And so, we're like, yeah, you're right, Josh. We need to be honest, too. So it kind of started this conversation that was really opening, because it helped strengthen not only our relationship but also our connection with Christ, because it was just so freeing to be able to connect with our family in a real honest environment.
The book is called Firsthand. It's written by Ryan and Josh Shook, Ditching Secondhand Religion for a Faith of Your Own. And Ryan, we just have a few minutes left. If you could kind of boil it down, I know it's going to be hard to do because it's a whole book, but what do you mean by having a firsthand relationship, a firsthand experience with the Lord? We just have a few minutes left.
Well, your relationship with Christ is really unique, and you can't have a secondhand relationship with him. You can't, like you guys said, God has no grandchildren. He wants a real personal, close, intimate connection with you. And so that's why I wrote the book, Firsthand, Ditching Secondhand Religion for a Faith of Your Own. And it's all about moving from that secondhand knowledge of God to a real firsthand relationship with him. We have a firsthand challenge for churches, because it's really meant to be lived out in community, to open the conversation between families, and then also spark this discussion about firsthand faith, firsthand connection with Christ in churches as well. And like you said before, you can go to firsthandbook.com to learn more about the challenge and the book.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it, Ryan.
Thank you, guys. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Right. Go
get your conference call, man.
Thank you, Ryan.
Appreciate it very much. That's a hard thing sometimes for